So you come out with your first album, and that was the only album on Loud Records, right?
Yeah.
So
Running off at the mouth.
what made you part after one album?
At that time, I just think we had our mindset on how we wanted things to be and weren't as successful as we thought we were gonna be, and were one of the first groups to actually take that leap after getting a record deal to wanting to do something independent. You know, so right after that record came out, I came out with an independent record called Resurrection. You know, just actually on a whole different vibe, you know, so we just wanted to take that leap of faith, man, and try something independent for a while. And we rode that wave for a little bit before later on I started to get back into my thing with getting signed again.
Okay. And now Resurrection was your second album, and wasn't that the name of Common's second album also?
Yeah, it was the name of Common's album, but I think both of us were like two totally different lanes. You know, like I didn't know what he was doing, he didn't know what I was doing. Like it was a coincidence that caught me by surprise, like at the last minute. Then mine was like, that was like his shit, his big shit. And mine was like underground. So it was like on two different wavelengths, and you know.
Right. So you put out Resurrection independently. How did it do independently?
It was cool for what we were doing at the time. You know, it definitely could have had more success, but for what we were doing, you know, I wouldn't change it. You know, it carried me through for a while, and it was a learning curve. You know, and I got the opportunity to do a different style and different music because I was young at the time, and I had got you know, pigeonholed, or whatever word you want to use, into doing the Twista style. And I wanted to show people that I can do other shit. So the Resurrection was my lane of doing that whole other vibe and kind of getting that out my system a little bit. So I wouldn't change it. It was a cool vibe, cool time.
Okay. And then came Adrenaline Rush.
Yep.
Now, at that point, you signed to Atlantic?
Yep. Adrenaline Rush. We signed to Atlantic Records.
Okay. And what led Atlantic, you know, because a lot of times when an artist comes out on a major and they don't do the numbers they're hoping to do, that's pretty much the end of that. So how did you basically take your career into your own hands and then get back into another major?
Well, at the time, I was underground, and the record that did it was Pimp. You know, so I was underground and, you know, kicking it on the west side, went into the flea market and shit. We used to kick it on Madison at the flea market. My homie worked at the flea market named Color One. He used to be down there doing his shirts and airbrushing. He had a shop down there. And while I was down there hanging out with him, AK came through there and was hanging out for a minute and talking to us and talking to Color and everything. And AK is one of the members of Do or Die. And he mentioned a song called Pimp that they were working on and asked me if I wanted to be a part of it. And I was like, hell yeah, I wanted to be a part of it. And around this time, I felt like I was refining my rap style, and I was anxious to let people hear what Twista sounded like now. And so Pimp was one of the first records that I got to let people hear where my rap style had developed to at that time. So we did the Pimp record, and when we did that record, we you know, caught a lot of attention, and Do or Die ended up signing with Rap-A-Lot Records, you know, and then it was, you know, I was like, man, I had choices, and I was like, damn, okay, if they went to Rap-A-Lot Records, then that'll make me priority at the record label right here where we were at. So I stayed home and became priority at Creators Way Records, and we started to work on records from there. And just from the whole buzz of Pimp, we just started to get, you know, a vibe from Atlantic and just different people, and, you know, we ended up signing with Atlantic.
Right. So then Adrenaline Rush comes out on Atlantic.
Yep.
How did that album do?
Adrenaline Rush did pretty cool. It was cool for us at the time. You know, definitely you want more success. It ended up going gold eventually, but at the time, it was definitely cool for us. It did good enough for us for them to want to give us, you know, another album. You know, it was good. We was in our zone. Produced by the legendary Traxter. You know, he did that album. He actually did that album and the Mob Stability album. And that was a cool time at Atlantic. I think I was on that label for like 10 years.
Yeah. So then Kamikaze comes out.
Yeah.
So right around the time Kamikaze's coming out, I meet Kanye for the first time. He was actually working with Common in the studio. And, you know, I was hanging out with both of them.
No.
And he played me slow jams in the studio for the first time.
No.
Now, you gotta understand, at the time, no one was thinking about Kanye the rapper. He was the producer that was fucking with Jay-Z. You know, I don't think anyone was even really taking him seriously as a rapper at the time. And I remember he played me slow jams in the studio. And I remember the, light-skinned friend looked like Michael Jackson, got a dark-skinned friend. And I'm like, oh, this dude's
Serious.
This dude's on some shit.
Yeah, that's the line that set it
and
up.
I remember I heard that record and I'm like, oh, okay. And actually at the time, Through the Wire was out, but it was sort of kind of like a buzz record. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a huge hit. And then Slow Jams comes out.
Yeah.
And that becomes Kanye's first real hit record.
Yeah.
And you're on it.
That's the jam, yeah.
And Jamie Foxx is on it, which was another one like, okay, Jamie Foxx is singing like that. This don't make no damn sense either.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it was almost like the introduction to the world to Jamie and Kanye, the vocalists.
Right, yeah. It was, and then he had been singing before on things, but that was like one that cracked it open for him, so to speak, So I think just, at that time frame, we had Kanye coming into what he was doing, and it was you got this young genius about to venture off into this big career, and we just were able to catch the early wave of it. People like me and Jamie Foxx were just able to be around at the time and be talented enough in his eyes to want to work with, and we just caught one. We got that song, and it was like, it just turned out to be like the shit.
Okay, so how did that song come together?
It was a song that Kanye already had, and he wanted me to be a part of it, and I heard it, vibed with it and everything, and started writing to it, and I think after I did my verse, then he went and got Jamie Foxx on it once he went to LA, and they got in the studio together, and then he added Jamie Foxx on it, and that's how that song came about. And then you had Jay-Z give his blessing to the song. Like, I think he was one of the first people to like flat say it out his mouth that he knew it was a hit and that it could be one for me and Kanye that should come out first. So he was like, that's a hit. That's the one that should come out. Like, so he really spoke that into existence.
Okay, so when you heard the song, like the final song with Jamie Foxx on it and your verse and Kanye's verse, like what did you think?
I thought it was a dope ass song that sounded different to some melodic music that I had grown up to, and I never had heard hip hop to music like that. So I felt like it was something new, and it was just a dope ass song. I had no idea how big of a hit it was gonna be. I knew that it was enjoyable, like constantly to listen to. Like the difference, like Pimp, we knew it was a hit. Like it was a crazy ass feeling because we wouldn't want to stop playing it. Like we into playing that motherfucker 17, 18 times and still push and rewind. We just knew it was a jam. And like with Slow Jams, I just knew it was something different. I was like, damn, I never heard a song like this. Like, shit, I'm part of something that sounds totally different than shit that's out here. So, that just caught me by surprise how it kept growing and growing and growing.
Right, now, Pimp, it was a do or die song featuring Twista, right?
Yeah.
So, but Overnight Celebrity is Twista featuring Kanye and Jamie Foxx. So this was like your first, was your biggest hit at the time in terms of your song?
Slow Jams actually was Kanye's song and was given to me for my album. So I caught that blessing right there like that. But Overnight Celebrity was my song featuring Kanye West. And that was like just, we was on that wave. So we just kept riding it. And that's a song that was like totally mine right there. My baby right there.
Okay. So how did that work out? I mean, because you don't usually see the same song on two different major label albums like that. You never see that.
Yeah, well, you had Rockefeller working with Atlantic at the time. Jay would speak directly, with the head of Atlantic at the time, Craig, and they just, they were able to work it out and make it come together. It was supposed to be bigger than that. Like I was supposed to actually represent the whole Rockefeller thing, and we were supposed to take it to the next level, but we could only get as far as working things out so that the music could come out the way it could.
Well, what do you mean by represent the whole Rockefeller thing, take it to the next level? What does that mean?
Like just at the time frame, the way things were moving, like I was about to become a part of that whole family and movement, but we couldn't make it happen on paper, you know.
Okay. Okay, so then Overnight Celebrity, was that recorded after Slow Jams?
Yes, yeah. Overnight Celebrity was recorded after Slow Jam.
Okay, now how did that song come together?
Just, man, knowing the vibe that Kanye was on, just knowing what I wanted to rap on, you know, and I remembered that sample, that girl, you know, you know, and we were just talking about different samples. And he said that he could flip something like that, you know. And so he went and worked on the song, and he actually said, like, he put time into that song. I was happy because he didn't just, that was one beat that it didn't just come to him, or he didn't just slap it together. Like, he explained to me that that one was a challenge for him, and he really put time into it for it to come out the way it sounded. So, you know, when I heard it, I was like, oh shit. You know, he took it to a crazy level, and then he put a hook on it and everything. I was like, man, I'm about to ride this boy right here. And it just came out as the shit.
So you now have 2 big hit songs on Kamikaze.
Yep.
Now that album goes platinum?
Yep.
Your first platinum album.
Yes, sir.
How did that feel?
Man, it felt like crossing the finish line. You know what I mean? Like, you're hearing about rappers going platinum, and, you know, you living this dream of one day achieving that success and being on that level, you know. So to actually get it was the shit, you know, to become platinum. It's a bunch of moments, you know what I mean? Like LL, like a lot of people don't give LL as much props as they should as far as how cold he was as an artist coming up. So he was one of my favorite rappers coming up, along with a lot of many others. So walking on a red carpet at the Vibe Awards one day, that was one of my big moments, like walking on the red carpet, seeing LL and shit. He was looking back at me with a little smirk on his face. I'm like, damn, why are you looking at me like that? So once I got close enough to him, he looked up at me and he said in the LL voice, do you see what perseverance will get you? I was like, hell yeah, you know what I mean? So that was one of my moments right there, hollering at the homie.
Okay. Now I heard Jamie Foxx didn't think that Slow Jams was going to be a hit.
Yeah, I don't think he thought so. Yeah, I think he thought he's being part of a jam. You know, he did himself. He was popping it on some shit he thought was cool, and I just think he felt like it was a cool song. You know, I thought it was a special song. I'm not sure. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I feel like he thought it was a cool song. You know, vibing to, and Kanye always thinks that his shit is gonna, you know, be that shit. So, you know, definitely he was in his normal state of mind. So, you know, I didn't know it was gonna be what it was, man.
I mean, working with Kanye that early, did you have any idea what Kanye was going to become later on?
No, it was certain hints of it. Like I had certain people around me that felt their way, then I felt my way. And the thing that I felt like it was the beginning stage of a genius. You know, like I think the part that was like scary dope to me was we were somewhere about to do an interview, and we were there at the same time he was there, and he was maybe arguing on the phone with like the editor of Vibe or something at the time. And he was telling this person on the phone about his Through the Wire video and why didn't it get ranked higher than certain other videos, and how he spent his own money and how he could be rapping Through the Wire, you know, doing what he was doing, and how it could get not looked at a certain way and ranked higher. He was like, and he said, this video should be higher. You crazy. I'm about to be the #1 producer in the next 2 years. And when he said it, I was like, oh shit, those some strong words. But it came into being like maybe a year and a half after that statement. He was standing on the stage with all the fucking awards like this. I was like, oh shit. So, you know, it was dope, man, working with him in the early stages. And had I known the journey that was gonna be took, it was one time where he even wanted to work on my whole project. I would have been like, hell yeah, man, let's do this shit.
Okay. So fast forward to 2016, you end up writing an open letter to Kanye.
Yeah.
What was really the reasoning behind that?
Really just something, you know, I think when you are close to people in certain ways, I just think if you do certain things, it might help. You know what I mean? And that was just something that was that I wanted to do, and people around me thought that was cool to do, to just help, you know, from a distance. You know, because we don't really talk a lot of nothing like that, but it was just, you know, a cool thing on my part, my managers, everybody felt it was cool. Like, man, yeah, say something to him, that'll be cool.